Good afternoon, folks. This is Fred Campos, owner of DFW Website Designers. It is Saturday, April the 24th. This is episode number 179 of your 3 business tips at 3 o'clock in and around 3 minutes. These past 3 or 4 days, we've been talking about communication, and we're going to continue that one more day to end this week well, talking about client communication. Today, we're going to focus in on nonverbal communication, reflecting back, and numerating your summaries. As we talked about earlier in the week, communication is the ability to express a thought or idea from one person to another. And as small business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed individuals, most of the time we're communicating with our customers or our clients. And our ability to communicate determines how our business is, determines if sales are going to occur, maybe also influences employees to do a better job. So communication is really, really important. One of the most interesting things about communication that I have learned, I've been working on, we'll talk about it, will be our first point. Business tip number 1 is nonverbal communication. What we say with our face, our eyes, our attitude, the way we focus or not focus, shares a whole bunch about communication. The thing about nonverbal communication is your nonverbal cues have to line up with your vocal communication. If I say, I think you're doing a really good job, but you see my head go back and forth, that sends mixed signals. And in fact, the other person receiving the communication picks up on nonverbals far more often than actually what you say. Oh, you're doing a great job, as I roll my eyes. That doesn't line up. So your nonverbal has to be in alignment. And you also have to not send negative. Me going, you're doing a really good job, doesn't line up and sends a negative connotation. So those are some examples. You know this. Just make sure that your attitude and your verbals are focused, and also make sure you're looking straight at the person you're communicating with. Business tip number 2. In communication, there's a lot of listening, which we've talked about before and when it's your time to talk, sometimes it's easier to reflect back, that's your business tip, what is being said. So I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying that when we do this, we should be doing that and then give new information. It also is really good because it communicates to the other person that you're actually listening to what is being said. And by the way, when you are reflecting back and when you're listening, don't be thinking about what you're going to be saying next. Actually be paying attention to what it is. Just repeat it. At the end of a conversation, this is business tip number 3, you're going to have a numerated summary. Maybe you'll even use the 3-3-3 method, right? So at the end of the meeting, at the end of this conversation, it says, hey, listen, I think I understand completely what you want to do on your website. We want to make sure we get the pictures right. We want to make sure we add the new content. We add that SEO. You want to summarize through numbers. You could even say number 1, number 2, number 3. If you're talking to somebody on the phone and they ask you to do something, or you're telling an employee you want to do something, ending that conversation by reiterating the 1, 2, or 3 points is really, really good. It shows active listening, and it also gives clarity to communication. These are tips that I'm learning. As you know, I come on every day, tell you whatever I'm learning, I share it with you because I want you to be awesome. Now go back to sleep.